I'll tell you a little secret. Corporate finance is more fun and enjoyable than you actually think.
So students will learn about the value of money at different timelines. They will also learn what this discount rates use. Most importantly, they will learn about the corporate finance concepts and apply them in real-world challenges.
The challenge that students face in this class is usually got to do with financial accounting basics, because to extract cash flows, you need to have the accounting background. The other one is finance tends to be a bit quantitative, so you need to have some mathematics ability. We'll prepare you, don't worry, we'll handhold you by providing you with some videos to watch, perhaps from other platforms, but they are basically available for you to prepare for my class along with my co-lecturer by you watching the video. So you have to be diligent. You have to actually sit and watch those videos before you come to my class.
They will be more equipped when people talk about financial statements, ratios, and even in making decisions in their business.
Get the knowledge from ACE at ASB and then go out there and feel empowered to solve problems in the real world. Mind over matter.
To thank all of you for giving your time this morning to choosing to spend it on action learning mechanisms for change.
Welcome to the Asia School of Business campus. We're excited to have you here and hope you enjoy your time with us. As part of our commitment to your safety and well-being, here are a few important reminders in case of an emergency in either the academic or residential buildings. Whether you are in the ASB academic or residential buildings, the following emergency procedures apply. If you hear the emergency alarm once, please stay calm and wait for further instructions. If you hear the emergency alarm twice, please evacuate the building immediately. The emergency exits for the ASB academic building are located in the middle and at the ends of the buildings near the elevators. Look out for our fire marshals, who will guide you to the nearest emergency exit. You can recognize our fire marshals by their bright yellow vests. There are 2 assembly points for the ASB academic main building. The first point is on the north side of the building, in front of the main entrance, beside our restaurant. The second point is on the south side, near the ASB residence, by the front office in Block C. For ASBR, the assembly point is located at the south entrance, near the ASB academic main building. If you are seated in the Kazana National Auditorium, the exits are located at the sides and back of the hall. Please proceed to the north side assembly point, which is on the ceremonial driveway at the main entrance. If you are on levels 2, 3, 4, or 5, always use the nearest staircase to come down to the first floor. Be on the lookout for the emergency signage at the following venues: If you experience a medical emergency, please alert an event staff member or an ASB staff member immediately. First aid kits are located in the pantry on every level of the ASB academic building and at the front office for ASB residents. While in our vicinity, if you notice any potential hazards, kindly report them to any of our staff members immediately. If you have small children with you, please ensure they stay close to you and follow the evacuation procedures calmly. In the interest of safety, please ensure that your children are accompanied by an adult at all times. Please respect other visitors and the environment. Need a break? Restrooms are located in each wing. Our restaurant is located in the East Wing on level 1. The lactation room and surau are available on the ground floor in the northwest area. You may request the passcode for the lactation room from the event's organizing team. Please be mindful of our smoke-free environment. Smoking is not permitted inside the building. Designated smoking areas are located outside the building. Thank you for your kind attention. We wish you a wonderful time on our campus. For more information, please contact our campus safety team. Stay safe and enjoy your time at ASB.
Well, so far, my first day here in ASB has been fun and interesting, especially meeting the faculty in person and the other people from MCB and the MBA classes as well.
The people around here, I think the faculty, they have been very, very supportive when it comes to getting me on board. They were very accommodating. The people around here, there's just so much positive energy, and so far so good.
Intention or like the deliberateness that has gone into the design of the program. So we've heard from faculty members, we've heard from members of the administrative team, and from Professor Sanjay himself as to how every bit of the program is intentionally designed to make sure that it's not a repeated experience, it's an experience that shows you a new angle or a new point of view to business and how you can play a role in making sure that business in the continent is better done.
Leadership is about the person, not about the organization, always about yourself. The Emerging Leaders, as we call it here in EL in ASB, is a program which to me is a kind of a boot camp process kind of thing. And you sign up in the morning and we keep you there until the very late evening for 4 days in a row. And by the end of that process, I promise you, would have discovered the value of your leadership and how you can use that understanding in turn to inspire others. 3 things about EL you need to know. Number 1, the program is designed for you to learn from each other as much as you learn from the faculty. And number 2, the program is designed for you to maximize your networking skills with each other. 3, the program is designed for you to have enough space. You can go in a self-reflection mode for you to learn more about yourself than you have learned before. I think most of our participants face this issue. Number 1, they usually come from a space where they have been individual contributors all along. If they get promoted to a higher level and they come to work one day, they find 15 people at least looking at them and calling them boss and asking them, what do you want us to do today? That is a pretty daunting situation for anyone to be in. Knowing and actually doing what you know are two totally different things. So in EL, we help them close that gap between what they know and what they do. Then you become an impeccable leader. To be able to understand what moves you, what ticks your clock, and how you can use that understanding to inspire other people to do things that they thought were impossible before this. It's about you.
We're entering a new era. You take, for example, artificial intelligence or data science. There's a lot of online content right now, but I've done a lot of research on the cognitive science of learning, the cognitive psychology of learning. And what we know is that it's one thing to watch a video, but it's quite another thing to take the input and then in a class setting, apply it with friends. For example, if you learn accounting, wouldn't it be great if you actually built an accounting system and your peers and the professor commented on it? So one of the fundamental aspects of ACE is it's hybrid. There's online, but there's a live session where you do exercises, you work with others, and that's where the real learning occurs. And it reflects what you've learned online, and it forces you to put it out. And that is a central tenet of everything we're doing. Agile continuous education has three components: flexibility, modularity, transferability. The course when you want it, modularity, get certificates for your learnings, transferability, then you have enough content, the right content, get a degree in very fast time and transfer the credit in. We are in a very fast-moving economy. Technology is changing, society is changing, sustainability, other questions are putting pressure on us to learn new skills. And ACE, the central term there is agile, but it's also continuous. So you have to continuously learn to stay abreast of a very rapidly changing world. ACE at ASB works because we have really incredible faculty. We have very well-constructed curriculum. It's very cutting edge, so we are always at the edge of what's happening, so you're not falling behind. And equally, the pedagogy. We flip the classroom and you have amazing colleagues creating an environment where you can not just take input, but use output to exercise your knowledge. If you take ACE, my hope is that on the one hand, you can really learn and have command over the topic. Number two, I hope that you can prove to the world that you have this content, you know this material, and the world recognizes it. And the third is, in your company, you should become an agent of change, innovation, and progress. What humans find easy, machines find hard. What humans find hard, machines find easy. A lot of automation affected blue-collar jobs. Here, automation will start with low-hanging fruit like customer service, but then affect more white-collar jobs.
I think that means that education is now the new oxygen economy, and we need to learn that AI is not only ChatGPT, but it can go beyond that. We can customize the GPT according to our own business needs. We can do multimodal, we can do video, we can do images, and so much more.
One of the big misconceptions is students don't realize that AI is just a soulless computer program. It has no sense of personhood, has no sense of identity, it has no emotions, it has no sentience.
Which is really interesting, isn't it? Because it can display very empathetic behavior and yet without emotions. We realize that AI operates on implicit rules rather than requiring us to program explicit rules. So for example, when we want to recognize between a cat and a dog, all we need to give the AI system is many examples of cats and dogs, and not the exact rules as to how to program a cat versus program a dog.
Yeah, very hard to describe cats and dogs so specifically that computer can recognize, but examples, easy. Well, I would really like to see students feel less like victims and more like owners of this technology so they can play offense.
Indeed, we want to empower our students to use AI not only as tools, but to be innovative within their own organizations.
I'll tell you a little secret. corporate finance is more fun and enjoyable than you actually think.
So students will learn about the value of money at different timelines. They will also learn what this discount rates use. Most importantly, they will learn about the corporate finance concepts and apply them in real-world challenges.
A very good morning to you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have found your seats. I think most of you are already seated. We'll be waiting for more guests to arrive, and the convocation photography is taking place in the atrium. The convocation procession will begin thereafter. I shall guide you to the proceedings in a little while. Thank you and good morning.
Please sit and watch those videos before you come to my class.
They will be more equipped when people talk about financial statements, ratios, and even in making decisions in their business.
Get the knowledge from ACE at ASB and then go out there and feel empowered to solve problems in the real world. Mind over matter.
All of you for giving your time this morning to choosing to spend it on action learning the Catalyst for Change.
Welcome to the Asia School of Business campus. We're excited to have you here and hope you enjoy your time with us. As part of our commitment to your safety and well-being, here are a few important reminders in case of an emergency in either the academic or residential buildings. Whether you are in the ASB academic or residential buildings, the following emergency procedures apply. If you hear the emergency alarm once, please stay calm and wait for further instructions. If you hear the emergency alarm twice, please evacuate the building immediately. The emergency exits for the ASB academic building are located in the middle and at the ends of the buildings near the elevators. Look out for our fire marshals, who will guide you to the nearest emergency exit. You can recognize our fire marshals by their bright yellow vests. There are 2 assembly points for the ASB academic main building. The first point is on the north side of the building, in front of the main entrance, beside our restaurant. The second point is on the south side, near the ASB residence, by the front office in Block C. For ASBR, the assembly point is located at the south entrance, near the ASB academic main building. If you are seated in the Kazana National Auditorium, the exits are located at the sides and back of the hall. Please proceed to the north side assembly point, which is on the ceremonial driveway at the main entrance. If you are on levels 2, 3, 4, or 5, always use the nearest staircase to come down to the first floor. Be on the lookout for the emergency signage at the following venues. If you experience a medical emergency, please alert an event staff member or an ASB staff member immediately. First aid kits are located in the pantry on every level of the ASB academic building and at the front office for ASB residents. While in our vicinity, if you notice any potential hazards, kindly report them to any of our staff members immediately. If you have small children with you, please ensure they stay close to you and follow the evacuation procedures calmly. In the interest of safety, please ensure that your children are accompanied by an adult at all times. Please respect other visitors and the environment. Need a break? Restrooms are located in each wing. Our restaurant is located in the East Wing on level 1. The lactation room and surau are available on the ground floor in the northwest area. You may request the passcode for the lactation room from the event's organizing team. Please be mindful of our smoke-free environment. Smoking is not permitted inside the building. Designated smoking areas are located outside the building. Thank you for your kind attention. We wish you a wonderful time on our campus. For more information, please contact our campus safety team. Stay safe and enjoy your time at ASB.
Well, so far, my first day here in ASB has been fun and interesting, especially meeting the faculty in person and the other people from MCB and the NTA classes as well.
The people around here, I think the faculty, they have been very, very supportive when it comes to getting me on board. They were very accommodating. The people around here, there's just so much positive energy, and so far so good.
Intention or like the deliberateness that has gone into the design of the program. So we've heard from faculty members, we've heard from members of the administrative team, and from Professor Sanjay himself as to how every bit of the program is intentionally designed to make sure that it's not a repeated experience, it's an experience that shows you a new angle or a new point of view to business and how you can play a role in making sure that business in the continent is better done.
Leadership is about the person, not about the organization, always about yourself. The Emerging Leaders, as we call it here in EL in ASB, is a program which to me is a kind of a boot camp process kind of thing. You sign up in the morning and we keep you there until the very late evening for 4 days in a row. And by the end of that process, I promise you would have discovered the value of your leadership and how you can use that understanding in turn to inspire others. 3 things about EL you need to know. Number 1, the program is designed for you to learn from each other as much as you learn from the faculty. And number 2, the program is designed for you to maximize your networking skills with each other. 3, the program is designed for you to have enough space. You can go in a self-reflection mode for you to learn more about yourself than you have learned before. I think most of our participants face this issue. Number 1, they usually come from a space where they have been individual contributors all along. But they get promoted to a higher level and they come to work one day, they find 15 people at least looking at them and calling them boss and asking them, what do you want us to do today? That is a pretty daunting situation for anyone to be in. Knowing and actually doing what you know are two totally different things. So in EL, we help them close that gap between what they know and what they do. Then you become an impeccable leader. To be able to understand what moves you, what ticks your clock, and how you can use that understanding to inspire other people to do things that they thought were impossible before this. It's about you.
We're entering a new era. You take, for example, artificial intelligence or data science. There's a lot of online content right now, but I've done a lot of research on the cognitive science of learning, the cognitive psychology of learning. And what we know is that it's one thing to watch a video, but it's quite another thing to take the input and then in a class setting, apply it with friends. For example, if you learn accounting, wouldn't it be great if you actually built an accounting system and your peers and the professor commented on it? So one of the fundamental aspects of ACE is it's hybrid. There's online, but there's a live session where you do exercises, you work with others, and that's where the real learning occurs. And it reflects what you've learned online, and it forces you to put it out. And that is a central tenet of everything we're doing. Agile continuous education has three components: flexibility, modularity, transferability. The course when you want it, modularity, get certificates for your learnings, transferability, then you have enough content, the right content, get a degree in very fast time, transfer the credit in. We are in a very fast-moving economy. Technology is changing, society is changing, sustainability, other questions are putting pressure on us to learn new skills. And ACE, the central term there is agile, but it's also continuous. So you have to continuously learn to stay abreast of a very rapidly changing world. ACE at ASB works because we have really incredible faculty. We have very well-constructed curriculum. It's very cutting edge, so we are always at the edge of what's happening, so you're not falling behind. And equally, the pedagogy. We flip the classroom, and you have amazing colleagues creating an environment where you can not just take input, but use output to exercise your knowledge. If you take ACE, my hope is that on the one hand, you can really learn and have command over the topic. Number two, I hope that you can prove to the world that you have this content, you know this material, and the world recognizes it. And the third is, in your company, you should become an agent of change, innovation, and progress. What humans find easy, machines find hard. What humans find hard, machines find easy. A lot of automation affected blue-collar jobs. Here, automation will start with low-hanging fruit like customer service, but then affect more white-collar jobs.
I think that means that education is now the new oxygen economy, and we need to learn that AI is not only ChatGPT, but it can go beyond that. We can customize the GPT according to our own business needs. We can do multimodal, we can do video, we can do images, and so much more.
One of the big misconceptions is students don't realize that AI is just a soulless computer program. It has no sense of personhood, has no sense of identity, it has no emotions, it has no sentience.
Which is really interesting, isn't it? Because it can display very empathetic behavior and yet without emotions. We realize that AI operates on implicit rules rather than requiring us to program explicit rules. So for example, when we want to recognize between a cat and a dog, all we need to give the AI system is many examples of cats and dogs, and not the exact rules as to how to program a cat versus program a dog.
Yeah, very hard to describe cats and dogs so specifically that computer can recognize, but examples, easy. Well, I would really like to see students feel less like victims and more like owners of this technology so they can play offense.
Indeed, we want to empower our students to use AI not only as tools, but to be innovative within their own organizations.
I'll tell you a little secret. Corporate finance is more fun and enjoyable than you actually think.
So students will learn about the value of money at different timelines. They will also learn what this discount rates use. And most importantly, they will learn about the corporate finance concepts and apply them in real-world challenges.
The challenge that students face in this class is usually got to do with financial accounting basics, because to extract cash flows, you need to have the accounting background. The other one is finance tends to be a bit quantitative, so you need to have some mathematics ability. We'll prepare you, don't worry, we'll handhold you by providing you with some videos to watch, perhaps from other platforms, but they are basically available for you to prepare for my class along with my co-lecturer by you watching the video. So you have to be diligent. You have to actually sit and watch those videos before you come to my class.
They will be more equipped when people talk about financial statements, ratios, and even in making decisions in their business.
Get the knowledge from ACE at ASB and then go out there and feel empowered to solve problems in the real world. Mind over matter.
All of you for giving your time this morning to choosing to spend it on action learning mechanisms for change.
A very good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for the Master in Central Banking and Master of Business Administration August 2024 Convocation ceremony of the Asia School of Business. The photography session is currently taking place in the atrium area with the graduates and the dignitaries of the school. They will then make their way in procession into this auditorium. You will be asked to be upstanding for the final segment of the procession and thereafter to remain standing for the Nagara Ku, our national anthem. Here are some housekeeping announcements. Please put your mobile phones on silent mode. You may take videos and photographs, but please note that flash photography is not allowed. Please remain seated during the convocation ceremony. Please pay close attention to this safety briefing. Your safety is our top priority, and it is crucial that you are familiar with our fire emergency procedures to respond effectively if necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, you are currently in the Asia School of Business Khazana Nasional Auditorium on level 1. In the event of an emergency evacuation, there are 4 emergency exits from this auditorium, 2 on each side and 2 at the back. Should a fire alarm sound, please stay calm and prepare for potential evacuation. Upon hearing a second continuous alarm and a PA system announcement, promptly exit through the nearest emergency exits following the floor marshal's guidance. The designated emergency assembly point is at the ceremonial driveway in front of the main entrance. avoid using elevators or lifts, and refrain from re-entering the building or heading to the car park until instructed to do so. Please note that the Asia School of Business maintains a no smoking policy on campus. Your cooperation during emergencies is greatly appreciated as we prioritize safety while on campus. On behalf of the Asia School of Business, we hope you have an enjoyable experience today. Thank you for your attention. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the procession for the Asia School of Business, Master in Central Banking and Master of Business Administration, August 2024 Convocation. Graduates of the Master in Central Banking. The graduates of the Master of Business Administration. The academic procession. The officers' procession. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the main procession. Please remain standing for the Nagara coup. You may be seated. Thank you. Young Babagya Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Aziz, Founding Chair and Co-Chair of the Board of Governors, Asia School of Business. President Sanjay Sharma, President, Chief Executive and Dean of the Asia School of Business. Dr. Patrick Honohan, Member of the Master and Central Banking Advisory Board, the 10th Governor of the Central Bank of Ireland, and a visiting faculty member of the Asia School of Business, and most importantly today, the esteemed commencement speaker. Members of the Board of Governors, members of the President's Advisory Council, members of the Master and Central Banking Advisory Board, members of the faculty, members of the student body, Your Excellencies, heads of diplomatic missions, Yang Babagya Tansri, Puansri, Dato, Datin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Salam Sejahtera, Selamat Datang, good morning and welcome to the August 2024 Master in Central Banking and Master of Business Administration Convocation of the Asia School of Business. I'm Chako George Vadaketh, and it is my very pleasant duty and privilege to be your guide to this morning's proceedings at this unique, groundbreaking business school set up in 2015 by Bank Negara Malaysia in collaboration with the MIT Sloan School of Management. We begin this morning's proceedings with a word of prayer. May I invite Mr. Ahmad Shazali Zakaria to deliver the Dua recitation.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to our distinguished guests, respected parents, esteemed lecturers, and cherished graduates. Before we commence our prayer, let us together recite Surah Al-Fatiha, seeking divine blessings, guidance, and gratitude from Allah Almighty. Al-Fatiha. All praise and gratitude belong to Allah, Lord of all the worlds. Peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad, his family, and his companions. Ya Rahman, we gather here today with humility and gratitude to celebrate the accomplishments of these graduates from the Asia School of Business. We seek your blessings for this convocation ceremony. Envelope this gathering with your divine presence and grace. Bless the organizers, the guests, and all those who have come to honor these graduates. We ask for your blessings upon the graduates, their families, and all those who have supported them on this journey. Ya Rahim, grant them the resilience to face challenges, the wisdom to make decisions with integrity, and the compassion to contribute positively to society. Bless their endeavors and hard work with success, and may their knowledge and skills benefit humanity, bringing honor to their families, communities, and nations. Ya Hadi, help them to be a beacon of light and positivity, upholding justice and righteousness, and embodying the values and principles they have learned at the Asia School of Business. Grant them good health, peace of mind, and the courage to pursue their dreams. Protect them from harm and guide them on a straight path. Ya Ghafar, we seek your forgiveness for our sins and shortcomings. Forgive the sins of these graduates, their parents, lecturers, and all those who have supported them and guided them. Ya Kareem, bless our parents for their boundless love, support, and sacrifices. Reward our lecturers and mentors for their dedication, wisdom, and guidance. Ya Aziz, help us to honor and respect them and grant us the ability to make them proud through our actions and achievements. Ya Salam, we pray for the safety and well-being of our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine. Protect them, provide them with strength and patience, and bring an end to the war and suffering they endure. Grant them peace, security, and justice. Ya Mujib, accept our prayers and grant us success in this life and the hereafter. Amin, amin, amin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sashali, for that beautiful and meaningful opening prayer. May I now invite the President, Chief Executive, and Dean of the Asia School of Business, Professor Sanjay Sharma, to bid you all a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chaco. Tan Sri Zeti, our distinguished speaker, Dr. Patrick Honohan, members of the boards of governors and the boards of directors, colleagues from Bank Nagara, our visitors from MIT, distinguished guests, our distinguished guests from embassies, your excellencies, our dear alums, our friends, families, and graduates. A very warm welcome to the graduating class of August 2024. I seem to have this repeating theme when I give graduation welcoming speeches, and it is a theme of change, and I'm not going to wander from, that's the one thing that won't change in my speech. But as I look at you, the two graduating classes, one with the Masters in Central Banking, and the other, the Masters in Business School, I can't think of how much we are on the cusp of history. The world confronts many conflicts to begin with. Of course, there's the long-lasting Ukraine-Russia war. There is the war in Gaza, which is heartbreaking to see. Last year, we were deeply concerned about our students and colleagues in Sudan. We recently had turmoil in Bangladesh. But of course, the outcome of the Bangladesh situation is very hopeful. How often do you see a Nobel laureate economist step into the breach to stabilize a country? It's really quite an amazing sight. So to misquote Charles Dickens, we today confront both the best of futures and the worst of futures. and you, our dear graduates, are the ninjas to take on this future. I chose that word carefully. Many of you may know that I'm a big believer in scenario planning, and I will paint 3 scenarios that I want you to be conscious of, whether you're a business executive or a macroeconomist. And the future will lie in bridging these macro trends and micro trends with humanity, creativity, and effective actions by your generation, and specifically by you. And I should say that my scenarios will overlap, or I should say dovetail with the scenarios that Dr. Honan will talk about. I did talk to him before the speech, and I'm glad to say there isn't that much of an overlap. The first scenario has to do with demographics. We live in a strange time when population declines in some countries are stunning, while other countries which are developing are seeing population growths. There seems to be something about the modern world that causes population drops with development. It's a very strange situation. The replacement rate, as you know, is 2.1. South Korea is about 0.7, or perhaps under, from what the governor of the central bank there told me a few weeks ago. Meanwhile, Indonesia is at 2.6, and many African countries are at 3. This is a wonderful sign. It means that there is, in fact, a demographic dividend, but it will take extraordinary investment to make it count. In Japan, it is 1.2. The Japanese economy is doing okay because the central bank has intervened and there have been productivity improvements. We will talk about productivity next, but meanwhile, other things are happening in demographics too. There is a miracle drug that I mentioned last year, which is this LDP inhibitor sequence of drugs, such as Ozempic, etc. And I mentioned last year that the market cap of Novo Nordisk exceeds that of Denmark. It is now 1.5 times that of Denmark. And it is thought that these drugs will add maybe $1 trillion to the US economy over the course of the next 4 years. Just imagine the implications of these miracles on humanity when life can be extended, when many of the fundamental challenges that we as human beings face are slowly removed, whether it's mental health or cardiovascular health or physical health. Does that mean, as populations age, that retirement ages can be increased or should be increased? But then you saw the feedback and the protests that happened in France as a result. These tensions can only be bridged with creativity, business acumen, policy chops, and empathy. And you will be in a position to take them on, whether you're MBAs or MCBs. The second scenario is productivity. AI is upon us, and you know that I am terrified and excited by AI. But recently, robots have also started making significant impact. Robots with AI can be a lot more powerful than robots without AI, and that's something else that is now knocking on our doors. These are old technologies. Don't think of them as gimmicks. They didn't just show up last week. They've been in development for more than 100 years, or in some cases, 75 years. And so they're showing up now, not as something that came out of a little flash in the pan, but because we've been working on them for decades. They should not be rejected as gimmicks. Yet, in aging economies, these technologies will be lifesavers. And that is where creativity can play a huge part. But the implication on jobs will be very negative, at least in the short term. In the long term, perhaps positive. Automation technologies can come knocking on several doors once in an interconnected system, all at once. For example, 50 million coding jobs in India may be at risk. If you take the Philippines, call centers contribute something like $30 billion to the economy. And 1.4 million people are employed. Up to 7% of the population is somehow involved in it. And unfortunately, for both coding and for call centers, large language models are right in they're the bullseye for large language models. And perhaps the biggest, even bigger risk is the concentration of power in a single company or a single country. Even in America, by the way, Google was declared a monopoly. That's how much we have a concentration of wealth, power, whether it's Novo Nordisk or Google. These are the challenges you will confront. And depending on how creative, humane, ethical, and problem-solving oriented you are, how ninja you are, how Jedi you are, we'll be able to bridge it or suffer the consequences. The implications for central bankers are very clear. Whether it's harnessing AI for better regulation or forecasting, or for creating or reacting to the implications, the future is yours to define. The final scenario is energy. As you know, we all know, obviously, that energy is, our generation of energy is a source of climate, of global warming and climate change. But few realize what impacts have occurred, what's happened in the energy space. I'll give you a piece of information that I picked up from The Economist that the others have talked about for some time now. In 2004, it took 1 year to install 1 gigawatt of solar. In 2010, it took 1 month. In 2016, it took 1 week. Last year, it took 1 day to install 1 gigawatt. This year, we will probably install 2 gigawatts. What that means is that solar, which is driven almost entirely by commercial needs, is going to probably meet our energy demands at this exponential rate. It's slightly warped by the inexpensive production in China. The only problem with solar and wind is it can't be transported. You can't put it in your car, which means that hydrocarbons aren't going to go away. Batteries are our future to transport energy. This too is an incredible opportunity for our business executives of the future, but also the implications on energy and energy security have huge implications for economies. So we really are confronting a tale of two possible futures, and one of abundance, one of shortage. And it also has to do with distribution. Who has abundance, who has shortage, and how do you redistribute it? These, ladies and gentlemen, are the world that you will graduate into. It will be yours to bridge with creativity, energy, productivity, proactivity, and humanity. I can't think of a better group to take them on. And so I wish you all the best, and I'm really pleased to kick off this graduation event.
Thank you, President Sarma. Your passion and keen insights into higher education in general, and the Asia School of Business in particular, are always infectious and inspiring. And I'm sure our ninja warriors have paid close attention to the scenarios you've created and described, looking at demographics, productivity, and energy, and the choice of two futures that await us all. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed privileged this morning to hear from a towering figure in the world of central banking. Dr. Patrick Honohan was the 10th governor of the Central Bank of Ireland between September 2009 and November 2015. In that capacity, he was also a member of the Governing Council of the European Central Bank, ECB. He is now a non-resident senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics, Washington, D.C. He's also an honorary professor of economics at Trinity College, Dublin. He spent nearly a decade at the World Bank as a senior advisor on financial sector operations and policy. From 1991 to 1998, he served as a research professor with the Economic and Social Research Institute, ESRI, in Dublin. Additionally, he was an economic advisor to the Taoiseach Garrett Fitzgerald and worked as an economist at the Central Bank of Ireland and the International Monetary Fund. Throughout his career in the Irish Public Service and at the ESRI, Dr. Honohan provided policy advice to successive Irish governments. At the World Bank, he offered policy guidance to central banks and governments globally and played a key role in the design and implementation of the IMF World Bank Financial Sector Assessment Program, which has been applied to developing countries since its launch in 1999. Dr. Honohan is a graduate of University College Dublin and earned his PhD in economics from the London School of Economics, LSE, in 1978. He has taught economics at LSE, University California, San Diego, Australian National University, University College Dublin, and Trinity College. In recent years, his research has focused primarily on monetary and financial sector policy. Since 2022, he has been teaching crisis prevention and management for the Master in Central Banking program at the Asia School of Business. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor now to invite to deliver the commencement address for the Asia School of Business August 2024 Convocation, Dr. Patrick Honohan.
Thank you very much. Governor Zeti, Dean Sanjay Sharma, distinguished visitors to ASB, colleague faculty members, and above all, the 2024 Masters of Business Administration and Masters of Central Banking and your families, it's a great pleasure and an honor to be addressing this convocation on graduation day. The Asia School of Business is a beacon of international collaboration, of the belief in expertise and experience as drivers of improved prosperity, and of the continued economic rise of Asian countries and their neighbors. You graduate today equipped with tools that you can use as you move in the years ahead into more senior managerial and decision-making roles in your organizations, public and private. And as you return to these organizations, you will be aware of a sense that, indeed, as Sanjay said, this is a time of great economic, business, and geopolitical change, especially in this part of the world. But isn't it always? Change is not new, and not just in Asia. Actually, I tend to be a bit skeptical when I hear assertions that we are living in a time of unprecedented change. I believe that the past century and more have seen many such episodes. The question that should be asked is not, is this a time of exceptional change, but instead, what are the most relevant elements of change that currently face us? And how should we position ourselves, especially those of us, you, who are embarking on the most influential and rewarding parts of your careers? Let me pick out 3 linked dimensions of change which are continuing to shape the environment in which you, whether as government officials or as business people, will be operating in the years ahead. First relates to economic growth and performance. Second relates to international economic and political relations. And third, the information explosion. So I want to talk first about growth and the middle income gap, a trap. Economic growth is not everything. It's not a panacea. And we don't really know how to measure it well. If you doubt that, just ask yourself whether, let's say, a free 30-minute video call on WhatsApp should be counted as economic output in GDP. At present, it isn't, but it's something that we value and would probably pay for. But economic growth is a prerequisite for enabling a better world for all without despoiling the planet. Growth rates experienced by most of the countries represented in this room have indeed been impressive. The incidence of dire poverty has been reduced dramatically. A long list of Asian countries, Asian economies, aspires to emulate the achievement over the past century, first of Japan, then of Korea, and a few city-states in achieving high-income status at or close to the productive frontier that was staked out first by Western Europe and the United States. But will the middle-income countries of today also succeed in reaching this frontier? Is there a middle-income trap that may block the ability of countries to jump higher, to reach the level of prosperity that is identified as high income? The fear that there may be a middle-income trap derives from the fact that many countries have escaped from low-income status only to see growth then stall for a lengthy period. It seems that the process of modernization, entailing a large flow of migrants out of low productivity rural and agricultural activities into a higher productivity urban setting, is a lot easier to achieve than the next stage. Further advances in prosperity are limited, either by competition on the one hand from surrounding low-wage countries, and on the other from the huge amounts of installed productive capital in the already high-income countries. Now, some scholars dispute the evidence for a middle-income trap, but it remains the case that few middle-income countries have made the transition. True, a handful of cities and city-states in Asia have reached an impressive level of prosperity, but this has rarely extended on a countrywide basis. Despite all of the talk about China, for example, the average labor productivity across that nation is still firmly in the middle-income category, far lower, for example, than Malaysia. What then is the way forward? Research findings, quantitative research findings of economic historians make it clear that the countries that have achieved high income status, apart from a few city-states and petroleum-rich countries, they've done so because of skilled professionals using their political and managerial skills, because they were able to establish the institutional platforms, whether public or private, to harness the technology of the day and create prosperity from the human capital of the nation. This was true way back in the Industrial Revolution, a quarter millennium ago. Two of my colleagues in Dublin recently showed that if you looked at all the counties of England, it was the more skilled workers an 18th century English county had, the more likely it was to prosper relative to the other English counties. And there is much, much work that has gone on discussing this growth process in the subsequent centuries. It was true, for example, in Korea, in living memory. ASB graduates, you are representative of the leading groups who can and will achieve the transition to high income for your countries. Your mastery of 21st century intellectual technology, for example, of the material covered in the curricula you've pursued over the past year, shows your capacity. Your continued determination to succeed and to contribute to broad economic prosperity will do the rest. Now let me turn to geoeconomics and geopolitics. When I think about the world as it was when I was a boy, and how things have changed progressively over the decades in terms of international political relations and power structures, the transformation has been immense. And geopolitically, that was the time when the European empires were at last breaking up, starting here in Asia. Even Indonesia was still under the control of the Netherlands when I was born. Independent India had escaped the yoke little before. Kuala Lumpur was part of the British Empire until I was nearly 8 years old. My uncles had travelled as missionaries to the developing world. Their stories revealed to me how European and American attitudes towards Asia were at that time usually patronizing and often worse. Geopolitical power structures and alliances have shifted over the following decades, especially following the years of rapid globalization. The entry of China into the global economy ever more rapidly from the 1990s is the most significant locus of this shift. China's wholehearted embrace of globalization has enabled it to see an economic transformation rarely matched by any sizable country in history. Under the control of the Communist Party, it is now the largest, though, as I have mentioned, far from the most prosperous economy on the planet. And the economic power of a nation in the global polity likely depends on as much on its total production as on average productivity of its population. So it matters. Relative economic power begins to matter more in a world of hardening political alignments. the concept of an ever more integrated market-dominated global economy under the general hegemony of the United States has blurred to the point of vanishing. Remember the flat world, a phrase coined by New York Times journalist Thomas Friedman 2 decades ago, as he wrote what he described as a short history of the 21st century, seeing globalization as the permanent unifier of the world economy for the century ahead, as, in his words, the inexorable integration of markets, nation-states, and technologies. The flat world. How odd those words seem today. The geopolitical fragmentation that has grown since the global financial crisis will strongly influence the environment in which you will be operating. Part of the US retreat from globalization is a belated reaction to the actual and perceived employment impact in the manufacturing sectors of the United States of the rapid growth in exports of manufacturers from Asia and especially China. Even though there were substantial aggregate economic benefits from this globalization, the failure to ensure that those benefits were spread sufficiently widely and that losers were somehow protected made globalization an easy target for populism in the United States and to a lesser extent in Europe. A kind of globalization backlash, if you will, and one that has been fueled by political entrepreneurs. This led to a tightening of trade and investment restrictions, especially by the US government. An additional new dimension is the emergence of a fear relating to economic security, especially associated with information technology. Worries that complex microprocessors embedded in technology sold across geopolitical frontiers can channel information back to the manufacturers, or can in turn be disabled or influenced by the manufacturer after production, are also driving measures inhibiting imports of such products. Fragmentation of the global polity is also exemplified by the emergence in the last few years of military adventures on a scale much larger than the civil wars and border skirmishes to which military activity was largely limited for half a century or more. These activities and threats, most recently exemplified by the invasions of Ukraine by Russia or the devastation of Palestine by Israel, have heightened concerns about exports of technologically sophisticated products which could have military uses, so-called dual-purpose products, and have led to increased export restrictions across deepening geopolitical boundaries. Anticipating and responding to these developments, China has, for almost a decade, adopted a strategy of reducing its reliance on foreign technology. All of these restrictions to imports and exports, especially but not only those related to US-China trade, have been accompanied by a reconfiguration of supply chains, as have the increasing barriers to US-China trade. Scholars have identified quite substantial reductions and reconfigurations of trade flows in the last few years, starting in 2018. It could be related to these geopolitics, economics, or geoeconomic factors. This diversification of supply chains is also a simple reflection of the risks that can be associated with too single-minded an emphasis on efficiency at the expense of resilience in the face of shocks. So businesses everywhere have been engaging in duplication, reshoring, or friend-shoring of international supply chains in order to increase resilience. And as they've done so, there have been opportunities for smaller countries in Asia, as well as in Latin America. Suddenly becoming more attractive locations for production, these countries are benefiting a lot from the diversification of supply chains and could continue to do so. But this fluidity in supply chains could also be hazardous if a country is caught in the crossfire between two giant poles of the global economy, with which it needs to its markets and on which it relies not only for foreign direct investment, but also for access to technology. New trade routes which are serving no more than a bridge across a geoeconomic divide, as we've seen quite frequently in the last few years, that they're likely to be particularly vulnerable to a tightening of restrictions, as well as incurring a degree of disdain from both sides. After all, the building of such bridges would be redundant in a world of trust and cooperation, and that hardly improves global productive efficiency and resilience. So how is an ASB graduate, a public official, or a business person in an Asian country best advised to position themselves in a geopolitical environment where aligning oneself closely to one side has the potential to have damaging consequences in relation to dealings with the other side? Many of the seeming beneficiaries of geoeconomic fragmentation have been seen to be non-aligned. That may not always be possible in the future. If you pick one side, will you be shut off from technology and investment from the other side? Will you become entangled in geopolitical issues, adding to costs and risks? These are questions which you will find yourselves repeatedly asking in the coming years, I am sure. My third dimension of change relates to the sources and accuracy of facts. Facts have always been contested. The winners have long written the history books. But there is something new in the air, and has been increasingly so for the past decade or more, namely the increased reliance on social media for information, our information, and that of the other people that live with us in our societies. At first, the technologies that facilitated social media seemed like a welcome democratization of the dissemination of information and opinion. But soon we recognized drawbacks. Our societies became siloed as we sought out and pursued contributors to social media that suited our beliefs and our preferences. I think we're all increasingly aware that divisions in our societies have grown because different groups heard different samples of the available news, and a small, skewed subset of the opinions that really existed. It was not long before unscrupulous political entrepreneurs latched onto this new mechanism. They chose the silos to exploit and fed them with facts and opinions that would cement support for themselves, often subtly altering the postings as they sent them to different echo chambers in social media in order to appeal to a wider set of subtly different audiences. When these political influencers realized that fact-checking was not a strong feature of social media platforms, some of them began to trade in fake news. And it is not only domestic politicians who use these tricks. Foreign spoilers have an incentive to do so also, not so much to generate support for a particular political faction, but as a way of destabilizing the societies that they see as enemies. Here, technology also facilitates the creation of fake news, and on top of it all, a powerful engine driving the effectiveness of these campaigns lies in the business model of the social media companies. They are determined to generate a high level of emotional involvement of users of social media in order to attract high volumes of advertising, and that they realize that anger and disgust are among the emotions most likely to stoke continuing engagement. This complex dynamic and related types of social media manipulation are having significant effects not only on politics, but equally important, on the mental well-being of social media users, especially children. Well-intentioned reformers have seemed mostly at sea when it comes to designing public policies that could check and reverse this serious contamination of the public realm. But business and economics expertise can help. For example, very recently, in the last couple of weeks, MIT professors Darren Ajamolia and Simon Johnson have advocated for a heavy tax on advertising revenue of large social media companies, heavy enough to induce them to move from an advertising-based model to a subscription-based model for the financing of social media. Thinking through what's going on from a business administration point of view, they reckon that by taking the advertising incentive to create social media addiction out of the equation, at least some of the manufactured toxicity of social media would dissipate. Here is an excellent example of how the skills associated with the academic analysis of business and of public finance, as you have been engaged with here at ASB, can be potentially of vast social importance. That is only one illustration of the importance of the flood of electronic data on our societies and economies. Data has long been the chief raw material for central bankers and is increasingly the dominant source of profit and growth for private firms if they can master it. I believe that handling the technical and political uses and implications of big data will be an increasingly central part of the professional challenges that you will be tackling in the years ahead. Filtering and contributing to the interpretation of this data and ensuring that action is based on a solid, truthful information will be your role. Doing so with integrity and skill will define your success and your ability to look back in a few decades' time on how you have applied what you learned here in KL as well as in your visits to Cambridge over the past year. Let me therefore propose an interpretation of how you, the ASB Masters of 2024, can see yourselves as ideally positioned for the decades ahead. It will be through your multiple identities and your broad vision and aptitudes. You have seen the best of Asia and of the West in the programs of study that you have pursued. You are better equipped to understand and navigate the cultural and political nuances of each. In addition, you combine a demonstrable thirst for learning and knowledge, which will be the backbone of your continued relevance and contribution in the world of work, with a determination to put in the effort needed to succeed. With these strengths, you can master the changing technologies and anticipate the many shifts in market and official preferences. And most of you return to countries at that pivot between the emerging and the advanced, able to contribute to ensuring that your country does not become stuck in the middle income trap. So the three messages that I would like to impart are as follows. First, as your contribution to overcoming that middle income trap, maintain and strengthen your technical skills as the years go by. Do not allow day-to-day pressures to result in de-skilling and losing the edge that you've worked so hard to achieve. Second, to help dissolve the global fragmentation that threatens, foster and widen your network of international friendships. Professional friendships should not depend on political alignment of the countries you work in and for. And third, to stand against a post-truth future, set your own personal integrity as the immovable basis for all your professional decisions and actions. In years to come, I feel sure that you will look back with nostalgia at the fulfilling months that you have spent on this magnificent campus within a stone's throw of one of the most highly reputed central banks of Asia, and in the heart of this capital city, always pushing for business improvement, as witness the new skyscraper we see rising above the neighboring buildings. Not only the tallest in Southeast Asia, but second in the whole world. You have forged enriching personal relations with your fellow students, often across cultural divides. Graduates, this new world is your oyster. Go back now to your employment, ready to fashion the pearls of which you are capable.
Thank you, Dr. Honohan. May I invite Professor President Sarma to present a small token of appreciation to Dr. Honohan. Once again, thank you. Oh, one more. A big hand, ladies and gentlemen, to Dr. Honohan for that sweeping and fascinating overview of economic transformation over a lifetime. The globalization backlash, the increasing fragmentation of economies, the rise in wars and invasions caused by fears of lack of economic security. His call to all of you ASB masters to use your multiple identities, knowing the best of Asia and the West, to overcome the middle income trap, dissolve global fragmentation, and to always set your own personal integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, we now begin with the conferment segment of this convocation, the conferment of academic degrees and the MIT Immersion Program certificates. This will be done by the founding chair and co-chair of the Asia School of Business Board of Governors, Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Aziz, and by President Sanjay Sarma. Please take your places, Tan Sri Dr. Zeti and President Sarma. We start with a Master in Central Banking. May I call upon the Senior Director of Central Banking and Finance Programs, Professor Dr. Hans Genberg, to present the class. Professor Genberg.
Distinct pleasure and honor to present to you the graduating cohort of the Master in Central Banking class of 2024. First, Ms. Alan K. Mangulabnan Brillantes, Bangko Sentral in Filipinas. Farah Nadia binti Muhammad Masri, Bank Negara, Malaysia. Fazila Riaz, State Bank of Pakistan. Faraz Abdul Rahman Al Wazan, Saudi Central Bank. Ahmad Abdullah Al Anazi, Saudi Central Bank. Indrayanto Ariandos, Bank Indonesia. Jetfrey Bien Regunan, Bangko Sentral in Filipinas. Kamaruzaman bin Shari, Bank Negara, Malaysia. Khalid Walid Abu Al Naja, Saudi Central Bank. Maisatul Najiba Muhammad, Brunei Darussalam Central Bank. Mishail Khalaf Al-Zideki, Saudi Central Bank. Nuri Rizki Al-Azara Gayo, Bank Indonesia. Ratna Oktriani, also Bank Indonesia. Valdivia Maria Beldis Moniz Mendes, Banco Central de Timor-Leste. Virgilio Tadoy Novio, Banco Central in Filipinas. Aduni Idzura binti Omar, Bank Negara, Malaysia. And finally, graduating in absentia, unfortunately, Mr. Musab Awad Mohammed Khair Ibrahim, Central Bank of Sudan. He could not be here with us, unfortunately, today. Let me finally ask everyone to acknowledge the achievements of the graduating Master in Central Banking class of 2024.
Thank you, Professor Genberg, and hearty congratulations to the new Masters in Central Banking graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, we now proceed with the conferment of the Master of Business Administration degrees and the MIT Immersion Program certificates. May I invite the Director of Program Planning, Mr. Jeffrey Zaini, to present the class.
It is my privilege and honor to present the MBA full-time graduating class of 2024. Abdullah Aiman bin Zainal Arif from Malaysia. Aiman Aizuddin bin Muhammad from Malaysia. Daniel Liao Yet Chern from Malaysia. Brian Guan Jen Khan from Malaysia. Jasmine Cheng Hong Man from Malaysia. Jivesh Singh Josen from Malaysia. Khadijah binti Isa from Malaysia. Muhammad Mustabin Ulbari from Bangladesh. Muhammad Amirul Hafiz bin Ramli from Malaysia. Muhammad Zamri bin Mustafa from Malaysia. Mohit Sharma from India. Muhammad Fauzi bin Markana from Malaysia. Muhammad Shukri bin Ramli from Malaysia. Muhammad Nur Rizwan bin Abdul Razak from Malaysia. Raghav Chaudhary from India. Si Wei Ji from Malaysia. Shafiah Nasrin binti Nasir Ali Khan from Malaysia. Clint Tevalakadu Chako from India. Gauri TK from India. Victor Vincent from Malaysia. Congratulations to the MBA full-time graduating class of 2024.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dr. Zeti and Mr. Jeffrey. President Sarma, may I ask you to be upstanding again for the presentation of the awards. And once again, hearty congratulations to our brand new MBAs. Bravo. We have 4 categories of awards to be presented today. The Dean's Awards for Outstanding Academic Performance, the Master in Central Banking Capstone Award, the Master of Business Administration Action Learning Award, and the President's Leadership Awards. To announce these special awards for the Master in Central Banking cohort, may I respectfully invite Professor Dr. Genberg to come and take charge of the proceedings.
Thank you. So for the President's Award, Dean's Award for Outstanding Academic Performance, there are 5 award winners. First is Aduni Idzura Omar, Bank Negara, Malaysia. Ms. Alan K. Mangulabnan Brillantes, Bangko Sentral, Pilipinas. Congratulations. Farah Nadia binti Masri, Bank Negara, Malaysia. Nuri Rizki Zahra Gayo. And finally, Ratna Oktriani, Bank Indonesia. Thank you, Sanjay. Could I invite Dr. Patrick Conahan to present the MCB Capstone Awards? For those of you who are not used to the notion of a capstone, it's a master's thesis, essentially, that we have in the Master Incentive Banking Program. There are two recipients. Alan K. Mangulabnan Brillantes, Blanco Central and Filipino. The title of her capstone paper was, "Can social media complaints be an indicator of bank operations disruptions?" The second recipient is Nuri Rizki Asahara Gayo, Bank Indonesia. The effectiveness of financial inclusion policy in Indonesia. Thank you, Patrick. Now, for the final award of the MCB class of 2024, I would like to invite Professor Sanjay once again to the stage to present the President's Leadership Award. This award recognizes a student who demonstrates exceptional service in fostering teamwork within the cohort, helping others succeed, and striving for individual excellence. And the recipient is Indrayanto Ariandos, Bank Indonesia. Thank you, and once again, final applause for the recipients of these awards, the MCB class of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Genberg. To announce the special award winners for the Master of Business Administration cohort, may I invite Mr. Jeffrey Zaini to come back up and take over proceedings.
Hi, thank you, Chaco. It's an honor to call out the names because it's a surprise for our graduates. The names are all here, so the joy you see is real. So the first is the Dean's Award. The Dean's Award honors the top 5 students for exceptional academic performance throughout the program. And maybe invite Dean Sanjay Sharma to present this award. For the class of MBA 2024, the Dean's Award for outstanding academic performance recipients are Muhammad Mustabin Ulbari, CUAG, Brian Guanjen Khan, Gauri TK. Jivesh Singh Josen. Congratulations to our 5 recipients of the Dean's Award for Outstanding Academic Performance. And thank you, Dean Sanjay Sharma. Our next award is the ASB Action Learning Award. This award recognizes excellence in action learning. May we please invite Dr. Patrick Honohan to present this award. The Action Learning Award recognizes the project team that exemplifies excellence in action learning through the following: adapting classroom knowledge within the proper context to address the business challenge, using innovative methods in data collection, analysis, and synthesis, providing impact and real value to the host organization. For the class of MBA 2024, the Action Learning Team Award goes to the student team hosted by Moving Walls, with their project crafting a blueprint for net zero digital out of home in Asia. May I ask the Moving Student Walls teams onto the stage to receive their awards and for a group photo. They are Muhammad Zamri bin Mustafa, Mustabin Albari, and Victor Vincent. Supported by Professor Yiren Wang and business coach Nirmala Turai. The Moving Wall student team's recommendations stand out for their practical and potential for immediate impact on the business. Take them then wait on stage for. Right. Okay. Right. Zamri, can you wait on stage afterwards for a group photo? Congratulations to the Moving Wall student team, recipients of the ASB Action Learning Award, and thank you, Dr. Patrick Honohan. The next and final award is the President's Leadership Award. May we invite President Sanjay Sharma to present this award. This award recognizes a student for their exceptional service to the school and community and for demonstrating extraordinary and transformative leadership qualities. For the class of MBA Full-Time 2024, the President's Leadership Award recipient is Brian Guan Jen Khan. Congratulations, Brian, and thank you, President Sanjay Sharma.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey Zaini, and bravo to all the award winners, the best of the best indeed. And a big hand also for the provider of a unique and traditional and beautiful ingredient at Asia School of Business Convocations, the beautiful gamelan music. A big hand to Big Sound Events. Syabas dan terima kasih. We now come to a much anticipated segment of today's program, the speech by a student representative, each from the Master in Central Banking program and from the Master of Business Administration program. To deliver his message on behalf of the Master in Central Banking cohort for 2024, I'm delighted to invite their representative, who hails from Saudi Arabia, Mr. Faras Abdul Rahman Al Wazan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Zedi Aziz, founding chair of the Asia School of Business, co-chair of Board of Governors, the former governor of Bank Negara, Malaysia. Professor Sanjay Sarma, chief executive officer, president and dean of the Asia School of Business. Dr. Patrick Honohan, our honorable commencement speaker and former governor of the Central Bank of Ireland. Esteemed faculty and program officers, Masters of Central Banking class of 2024, Masters in Business Administration 2024, family and friends, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense pride and appreciation that we gather here today to celebrate the extraordinary accomplishments of the esteemed luminaries seated before you. Representing 8 distinguished central banks from around the world, as well as our own accomplished MBA program. These individuals have demonstrated unparalleled dedication, visionary leadership, and a profound commitment to the stability and prosperity of both the public and private sector. Their remarkable achievements not only reflect their exceptional expertise and unwavering resolve, but also serve as a beacon for future generations. We proudly call ourselves central bankers. A central banker, esteemed guests, belong to a revered profession entrusted with safeguarding the vitality of the economy and ensuring the financial stability of the banking sector. We are the experts in navigating matters of high complexity and great criticality, the frontline defenders in times of crisis, and the leaders to make the tough, pivotal decisions. This is a call for a strong of heart and resilient minds. Such traits are embodied by the individuals present in this hall today. Throughout our journey in this program, my colleagues and I have acquired vast knowledge and refined our skills, all to serve our countries, our central banks, and our communities. The dedication and effort invested by each student during this period have prepared us to answer the call for greatness, a call we eagerly await. It is with profound privilege to acknowledge Dr. Zedi Aziz, founding chair at ASB, co-chair of the Board of Governors, and former governor of Bank Negara, Malaysia. Through her visionary leadership, Dr. Zedi conceived the Masters in Central Banking program, the world's first comprehensive degree designed to equip central banks with the expertise to navigate the complexity of today's ever-evolving financial landscape. By addressing the distinct challenges faced by central banks in both developed and emerging economies, and by fostering global network for exchange of insights. This program has empowered us with the essential tools and knowledge to fortify our central banks. Dr. Zedi, on behalf of the students that came before us and students present today, we will make you proud. As I compose my thesis, my esteemed supervisor, Professor Anila Monroe, who graces us with her presence today, had told me we built on the shoulders of giants. I'm confident that as my colleagues and I return to our central banks, we will achieve great things. Yet it is upon your shoulder, Dr. Zedi, and esteemed MCB faculty, that we stand proudly celebrating our accomplishments. Your dedication, support, and expertise have been the cornerstone of our achievements. On behalf of students past, present, and future, we extend our deepest gratitude to you, for it is through your efforts that we've been able to reach new heights and strive for excellence. But today, we celebrate the students. So if I can have the MCB class of 2024 rise from their seats. So I have stood shoulder to shoulder with each and every one of you. I have witnessed your excellence as colleagues, your brilliance as students, your warmth as friends, and your exemplary role as ambassadors of your fine nations. You should take immense pride in these achievements. Now, if you'll all join me in applauding these great central bankers. To our colleagues in the MBA program, while our paths may have crossed only briefly, the camaraderie we have shared within these esteemed walls has been truly remarkable. Though we may pursue different fields, our common goal of striving for excellence unites us. On behalf of the MCB class of 2024, we extend our best wishes for your continued success in all your endeavors. I leave you with these final words. Mastering your knowledge and skill is only part of the equation for success and glory. One must transcend this and impart wisdom to others, a virtue I've observed in my predecessors at the Saudi Central Bank, as well as my colleagues and mentors here. As Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, once said, "The best of people are those that bring the most benefit to the rest of mankind." Let us strive to be the best by sharing our knowledge and skills to benefit our countries and communities. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Firas Al-Wazzan, representing the Saudi Central Bank in the MCB class of 2024, and it is a true honor to stand before you today. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to address such an esteemed gathering. This moment is a celebration of our shared journey, our hard work, and the dedication that has brought us to here. I am humbled to be part of this remarkable assembly and to express our collective gratitude for the support and guidance we have received. Thank you.
A big hand for Mr. Faraz Abdurrahman Al-Wazan. That was a beautiful, eloquent speech highlighting the duties that central bankers have, safeguarding the vitality of their respective nations' economies, being defenders in times of crisis, and the critical role that central bankers play. He highlighted that this is the world's first degree for central bankers, testimony to Dr. Zetti's vision, and he expressed his gratitude to his teachers and celebrated his fellow newly minted masters in central banking graduates. Congratulations, Faraz, and congratulations to all his fellow graduates today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to deliver his speech on behalf of the Master of Business and Administration cohort, it gives me great pleasure to invite to the podium their homegrown representative, Mr. Brian Guan Chen Khan.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. To our esteemed co-chair, Tan Sri Dr. Zetti, our Dean and CEO, Professor Sanjay Sama, our distinguished guest of honor, Dr. Patrick Honohan, members of the Board of Governors, the Senate, faculty, staff, family, and friends. It is with profound gratitude that I stand before you on this auspicious day. On the night that program office informed me that I am selected as the commencement student speaker for the class of MBA 2024, I went to bed with a bittersweet feeling. As I stared into the darkness with the lights turned off, I reflected upon our entire MBA journey. I heard a voice speaking in my head, and my lips cannot help but to mum to those words ringing in me. This is the original version, spoken from my mind in almost verbatim manner. Allow me to share. On the first day, when all students onboarded the program, we came in with external identities: lawyers, engineers, accountants. Quickly, into the immersion of the program, we realized our labels were stripped, and we were all in a state of vulnerability. We were reminded what we thought we know best is not necessarily the case, and other approaches, guided by frameworks and principles, provided better clarity to the systems of the world. To some extent, the MBA brought out the best and the worst in us. It made us dig deep into ourselves to understand who we choose to be internally is the real definition of our identities for what we do and what we produce to the world. Becoming a student again for the past year was refreshing, high-paced, and nonetheless an absolute journey of enlightenment. Learning alongside some of the most wonderful classmates in a safe environment is a privilege that not many can have. We have a well-structured calendar. We have professors to tell us what to learn. If we don't know, we can ask. This does not happen in the real life, at least not in my life. The real world is different. It has a mind of its own. As we now move on to the next chapter of our post-graduation life, some of us may find difficulty in adapting to the normalcy of the working world outside. In that process of assimilating ourselves to our new surroundings, it is important to remind ourselves that we are molded by this extraordinary experience, and we should not easily conform to the conventions of our new surroundings if we don't see fit. There could be times that our viewpoints are seen as bizarre, unconventional, and to some extent radical. But as MBA graduates of ASB, we must know how to revel in the mundane and adverse, yet steer the ship with reasoning and humility. Point number 2. Thank you. Point number 2. Having an MBA does not make us special. It is what we do with it that truly matters. As we transition from being students to agents of change, it is important that we translate our learnings in class to the real world. Despite all the talents that one may have, we ought to remember it is often discipline and hard work that will get us far in life. It is the grit, resilience, and determination that will prevail. Discipline and hard work, probably the most underrated form of talent. Point number 3. The world that we are living in is transforming very quickly. No one knows what will happen in the future. The school has provided us with a world-class education. More importantly, it has instilled in us a set of values and skill sets that are forever timeless. For example, critical thinking, strategic communication, innovative mindset, and a constant thirst for growth and learning. Bearing in mind, we are indirectly creating a network effect of positivity to the people around us. For this, it resonates with what Professor Sanjay has been mooting for. This program, instead of being known as MBA, perhaps it should be known as MBL, Masters of Business Leadership. Now, just as I finished the pep talk to myself, I think of all the beautiful memories that we created as a class, the countless brainstorming sessions, the number of PowerPoint decks created but now archived, the pauses in our conversations as we recalibrated our thoughts and words, the laughter, the sleepless nights, and the sheer spirit of camaraderie and togetherness. As the class of 2024, we know we gave it our all, and we left no page unturned. It is truly my honor to be on this journey with each and every one of you. Look, I don't know everyone here, but I know one thing. Everyone in this room has made tremendous sacrifices, many of whom, just like my classmates, are balancing multiple responsibilities, whether as mother, raising children, their parents battling illness, and those who traveled from far to be here. For what do we make all these sacrifices? I think it is because everyone, be it students, faculty, family, or friends, everyone knows deep down there's no better time to invest in ourselves and to put 100% effort to achieve our aspirations. I like to think that we are living in the best time of human history, and my optimism was validated during our immersion program at MIT Sloan. There, we witnessed firsthand the passion of researchers, innovators, and educators as they work tirelessly around the clock towards the advancement of human race. I was truly humbled. Imagine walking around Kendall Square. On your left, you see Google's Innovation Center. On your right, you see the research labs of top pharmaceutical companies, Novartis, Medtronic. This is a testament of how education, research, and corporates come together to make real-world impact. Driving this reinforcing loop of innovation, entrepreneurship, incubation, and continuous success. The way I see it, there's no limit to what we can pursue. Nonetheless, I feel very lucky to be a student of ASB, as it is positioned in Asia, more specifically, Southeast Asia. We are here sitting at the epicenter of the next growth frontier for the coming decades. The playing field has been completely levelized with new technologies and a robust young population in Asia. The race is on, and it is for us, graduates, to capture it. And driving this growth engine is the star lineup of dedicated faculties at ASB. Just to name a few, Professor Renato, for his keen ability to draw correlations between business and the political economy, his unmatched energy level, and his signature greeting at the start of every class, "Hello, hello!" Professor Shadow, for his astute posture and attentive gaze as he explains the endless possibilities in scenario planning. And Professor Johan Chu at MIT Sloan for being an excellent bus driver of system dynamics. As educators, you truly live up to the notion of continuous learning. Gone were the days that education stops at tertiary level. The faculties sitting in front of us are now frontliner advocates for quaternary education, one that spans the next 30, 40 years of our life in the upskilling and the reskilling of the labor force. My only wish to Professor Joe Cherian is when I come back to ASB in the future, I hope you can finally share some stock tips, hopefully without a charge, or at least at a 50% discount, just like what Ben's Cafe has for the student alumni. Also, special shout out to the Action Learning team for putting together the wonderful opportunities of working together with corporate partners in a spread of geographical locations. The academic managers, Jason, Waiwa, Yangji, Victor, Najiha, Kimberly, who played a quintessential role in ensuring academic excellence for their daily reminders on homework submissions and making sure that we have the grades to graduate. Knowing that I am forever a part of this supportive community at ASB and MIT, I feel at ease. I know we, the class of 2024, MBA and MCB, have made the best investments of our life. Thank you for listening. Before I head off, I would like to give a special thank you to my parents, my wife-to-be, Michelle, my sister Shuqing, for your unwavering care and support throughout my MBA journey. To the class of 2024, hasta la vista. I love you all.
Congratulations, Brian Guan Chen Khan. What a wonderful speech, highlighting the MBA journey that he and his cohort has experienced, from starting off in an uncomfortable state of vulnerability and discovering the best and the worst of themselves, the joys of being a student again, being prepared to move on to the real world, always remembering what the ASB MBA training has taught them. Being agents of change, facing a rapidly changing and challenging world, he shared beautiful memories, the laughter and camaraderie, the sacrifices that everyone has had to face and make, and balancing difficult situations. I think we all feel inspired and are marveling at the wonder of the ASB MBA experience. And he also acknowledged his teachers and also the team at ASB and also at MIT Cambridge that has made this possible. Once again, congratulations for that speech, Brian, and congratulations to the whole cohort of the MBA 2024. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we're now coming to the end of today's auspicious and momentous ceremony. May I call upon President Sanjay Sharma to present his closing remarks. President Sharma.
Thank you very much, Chaco, for your wonderful stewardship of this program. And thank you to our graduates for your great speeches, Feraz, and to Brian. Very moving to hear these speeches from students who have been through a journey with us, and we're all collected here for that same journey. Special thank you to Dr. Patrick Honohan for his amazing speech. It reminded me actually how plural, how diverse this group of people is. Pound for pound, you will not find this anywhere else on the planet. It's really very unique, and I'm constantly struck by that. You know, I also wanted to thank Dr. Honohan for reminding us about the power and importance of being continuous learners in our lives. And I hope you will take that to heart, because your education does not end here. This is the end of the beginning, and we will have to continue to upskill and reskill for the rest of our lives. And as you know, ASB is taking a giant step in that direction, but I want to assure our graduates that you will always have access to that as a legacy of your presence here. I want to take a second and say that, you know, during the course of the year, everyone works very hard, it gets tiring, you know, but coming to graduation is always stunningly energizing. It's really amazing. And I want to take a second here and ask you to look at each other and look at everyone in this room. And you're all gathered here for one thing, and that is the unfettered joy of shared achievement. Every one of you. And literally every one of you. It's quite special. Very few places it happens. And this is one of them. And this is why it is such an important institution. Academia, learning, education. And that's why we go through all these processes, because we want to make sure that it is marked in every way that it deserves. And following up on that, I'd like to first of all thank my ASB colleagues for everything you do. You are tremendous. I see our faculty here. I see a visiting faculty from MIT. By the way, for those of you who are wondering about the colors of our robes, a few of our colleagues, Anela, Asad, and Renato, are wearing different colored robes because you're supposed to wear the robe of your PhD alma mater or of the local institutions. And you have amazing faculty here, and the faculty to student ratio is absolutely stunning. Our faculty is unique, and I'm very proud of them. So thank you to our faculty for making this happen. Our academic managers are, as both of you said, both Faraz and Brian said, are amazing. And it is our secret superpower. Our academic managers, program office, and all the staff who make this place tick. Thank you. Can I have everyone who's an employee of ASB stand up, please? We are very blessed. You know, I was at the MIT graduation earlier in May, and I noticed someone volunteering. And I noticed she looked familiar. And then I went close to her, and I realized she was the vice president for human resources. And she was just volunteering to usher students and families along. And ASB is like that. So thank you to all of you. I would like to thank all the people whose generosity leads us here today. And by that I mean all the governments, all the central banks, all the folks who give fellowships, Bank Nagara. It is a gift to humanity what you do. So thank you. And I particularly want to point out that this place would not exist were it not for Dr. Aziz Zeti. She is an icon, and we owe this event and our history to her. So I just want to give her a thank you. So Tanshri Zeti, thank you for everything you do. And finally, as I look around and I see family members, I find it very moving, everything you do, the challenges, the risks, the friends who have here, the alums who have shown up. You are in many ways the nest from which we create achievement. Thank you. Your presence means a lot to us. We celebrate you, we thank you, and we look forward to staying in touch with all of you. Thank you. Because our success based on the human fiber. We're not individuals, and this fiber is what makes us strong. And so today, I think we have had a wonderful ceremony, and we will reach our conclusion with one very unique, well, not that unique, but certainly special ASB tradition. And it's a little bit of a twist on an existing tradition. As you probably know, graduates are supposed to wear your tassels on your left, right? But we do this little trick here where we ask you to move your tassels to your right. And although you're all graduates already, every one of you, please move your tassels to your right. And we will recreate. Yeah, yours is on the wrong side, but that's okay. Leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it. That's okay. I noticed from the stage. Please move them to the left. Congratulations. 2024 class of Master in Central Banking and MBA. Thank you.
Thank you, President Sarma. ASB truly is a remarkable place and institution. Once again, Shabas and congratulations to all the new Masters in Central Banking and Master of Business Administration graduates of the Asia School of Business. Bravo. We will shortly begin the recessional, signifying the end of the formal part of today's proceedings. May I take a moment to quote from the great 19th century American poet Walt Whitman. This is what you should do. Love the earth, the sun, and the animals. Despise riches. Give alms to everyone that asks. Stand up for the stupid and crazy. Devote your income and labor to others. Hate tyrants. Argue not concerning God. Have patience and indulgence toward the people. Re-examine all you have been told at school or church or in any book. Dismiss what insults your own soul, and your very flesh shall be a great poem. I'm Chako George Vadaketh, and it's been a distinct honor to be your guide for this morning's proceedings. The procession out will now begin. Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding. I invite the mace bearer to come and lead the main procession out for today's Master in Central Banking and Master of Business Administration Convocation of the Asia School of Business 2024 out of this Khazana National Auditorium. The officers of the school may now proceed out. The academicians may now depart the auditorium. Our honored invited guests and heads of departments may now depart the auditorium for lunch. The Masters in Central Banking graduates, the Master of Business Administration graduates, you may now proceed out of the auditorium. And all our guests are cordially invited to proceed out of the auditorium and to luncheon in the atrium area. Thank you and have a very pleasant afternoon.